So I personally have been very excited about this topic because we have two absolutely fascinating representatives here of two fascinatingly different approaches. So if I can start with you, Ofir, I would really like that. If you could tell us more about what it is that you do.
Sure. So I have two components that I bring to the table today. One is I have an online casino in the UK, right? Just typical real money gaming. And then I'm currently under construction for a crypto casino. There are tons of crypto casinos out there, but there's some innovations I'm going to talk about throughout the session here that make this different using blockchain technology. So I got two that I'm operating, so I bring Web3 and iGaming experience together for today's session.
Thank you. Michael,
thanks. Hi everyone, I'm Michael. I'm one of the partners at Metaverse Architects. We are actually a local firm, though we service international clients. Our business model is pretty simple. Companies come to us, they tell us, hey, we want to know what this metaverse is, can you help us? So we have consultants who consult them on the education part, and then effectively start building the 3D and then the code. It's interesting for us to be here today because we've just finalized the development of one of the largest crypto casinos in the world called Roobet.com. And we're targeting the space, to be honest. We know the potential, so yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
So when we talk about the metaverse and we imagine gaming in the metaverse, Michael, first I'd like to ask you, what types of companies are coming to you with the preference for what kinds of products? Because you've got casino, you've got poker, you've got sports betting, you've got lottery tickets. What are they specifically coming to see you for?
So over the year and a half or 2 years we've been in business, effectively when there was the peak of Metaverse, when Facebook changed their name, we had inquiries from everywhere. It's like everyone wanted to be in this space. But realistically, the technology is not ready for everyone, whilst for casinos it is. So if you talk about the gambling and the gaming hemisphere, I would say that they want integration of their games into 3D. So 3D blackjack, 3D poker, etc. Sportsbook is not something which we've touched upon yet as a business model. I don't think there's a need for it to be in the 3D environment. Realistically, it's more touch and go user interaction.
And it's interesting because I personally can't imagine what a virtual casino looks like and feels like.
Yep.
So maybe you could answer us and tell us, Ofir, tell me more about the metaverse that you're building with this crypto casino, and what is it going to look like? How do you do it? Do we have to wear VR, or how does it work?
You don't have to wear VR, but you have what's called the voxel experience, which looks like Minecraft, if you're familiar with that. It's a very popular design. I'm not a fan of that type of art, but a lot of people are. And then there's like this Unreal Engine, this realistic, what it looks like when you walk into a casino. You play blackjack, you see your hands, you hit, you stay. All that experience is something that's gaining traction, as you can see in the marketplace. And so what does it feel and look like? It's how you design it. That's where Michael comes in. You want colors, bright colors? Do you want it to look like the Wynn Casino in Las Vegas? You design it the way you want to design it. But there's many options now. And every single day, there's more and more tech in the design side as well to what you want it to look like. And it becomes, just like anything else, more technologically advanced as you go. So the experience can be better. I do want to say something, though. The sports betting thing may not make any sense, but I did run into a startup that is doing the fan experience for sports games.
Yeah.
So you could be with your friends who are in different countries and have your VR headset on, and you'd be watching on a couch and watching your favorite football game. It was incredible. I saw it with my own eyes. I didn't invest in it. I'm also an angel investor, but I did not invest in it just because I think it's really geared towards the experience and not so much the monetizing gaming. But that's kind of what people are doing. I don't know if anyone's ever asked you to watch a football game with their friends.
Yes.
Metaverse experience.
We haven't officially worked with a football club, but over the past year and a half, we have had inquiries from big clubs, Juventus, Chelsea, which was created proposals for, engaged with them for a few weeks.
I see.
And they're very curious, right? Because for them, from a business point of view, as in they sell their rights to, for example, I don't know, ESPN to stream it on televisions. With the technology and the way it's moving, effectively you could cut out that middleman. So in the long run, they're saving billions. As I said before, they're keeping their eyes on it. And your idea of fan experience is the opposite end. It's the user experience, which can be phenomenal, to be honest.
Yes.
I think we can't underestimate the impact of COVID as well, in terms of when we couldn't physically be together, you could actually phone your friend up and watch a TV movie together, and that was enough. That felt good enough. So the imagination of, oh my, I can actually sit where I feel like I'm right next to you, is a much more interesting approach.
Right.
Fantasy and forgive me, I'm forgetting the name. Online sporting, the
Daily
not
fantasy?
non-reality fantasy sports betting, for example. In that kind of environment, because we didn't have any sport running for a couple of years, there was a lot of fantasy betting, a lot of fantasy interaction. I'm quite curious to know if we think that actually the metaverse might also plug into this fantasy world.
Are we talking about daily fantasy, like the fantasy of betting on each player and teams? I think it's just the same experience. When we're talking about Metaverse, the first part of this discussion, I think it's just about what you're seeing with your own eyes here. So I think it could be the same. It'll just translate the same. It's kind of relating to the sports, watching sports. If you're doing daily fantasy or fantasy sports, and you're really wagering on it, do you want a Metaverse experience or not? And I think it can only be escalated by your user experience. That's really what it's going to be. This Apple headset that just came out, the VR headset that came out, is coming out. Michael will know better than I do.
Yeah.
Is it already out?
It's officially launched to the public January next year,
So
but
January.
developers can apply for it, which is what we're doing.
Right. So that's going to change fantasy as well, that VR headset, in my opinion.
In terms of the Metaverse casino, how anonymous can you be? And what should you be able, what maybe legally you need to be able to show?
It's a gray area. It's quite a gray area. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but the feeling that I got is that operators want to ensure that they know who's using their casino, right? Just like on the web. You can be anonymous on certain servers. You'd have to work under an acronym. And that acronym will be linked to a MetaMask wallet, which facilitates you connecting your crypto or your currency to the casino which you're working with. Is it the right thing in the long term? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But you can be.
It was interesting because I noticed that in Japan, pachinko is a very, very popular sport.
What is it?
Pachinko. It's a very, very popular game that people go into casinos to literally just pull the handle and see if they win. And one of the first ideas that popped up was, what if we got a room full of, the machines, and we got characters, and you could bet on which character is going to win the next round? Even taking that even further into the metaverse, of course, you could have, 100,000 people in there instead of only 1,000 in a casino. What's always a bit of a touchy topic, though, is, do either of you foresee play to earn as part of what you're creating, Michael, and certainly for you, Ofir?
Well, I'm not a big fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the model is sustainable in the long run. I feel that it's one of those things that you just get in early, and once you get in early, you leverage your power for other people to get in later, and they have to spend more time playing that game, which means that they accumulate more virtual money that can be converted into real money. Not a profit, I don't know, but that's my take. That's my take.
I have a very
He probably knows more.
I have a very firm opinion on play to earn, and let me be clear what play to earn is, right? I'll just use children as an example, even though we all might play video games as adults. You're usually buying skins or paying for your children to play video games online, right? You're opting in to buy things, add-ons, etc. Play to earn is, we're going to pay you to play. So you have an NFT character, you play the video game. Your kids are probably playing the video game or something similar anyways, but the more they play, the more crypto you give them, right? And so what you're doing is you're creating an inflationary economy. You just give and give and give. And what Michael just said is there needs to be a pyramid, right? So my children are playing here, and then we need 4 more. I have 2 children, so we have 4 more children that need to come in behind us to play, and then 8 more behind them to play. That's the only way that you create this deflationary or a steady economy in the tokens. What's happened with play to earn is there's been some great innovations, but I haven't seen one successful yet that hasn't done this and completely crashed because of this pyramid concept. So I'm not really a fan of it either. Not knocking anything specific. I've seen some innovative ideas and some amazing graphics and gameplay, but the play to earn concept still hasn't really, in my opinion, and I haven't seen it yet, gone to where it was supposed to go when it was first hyped up. Because I was a big fan of it.
Was that token SLP? Was it SLP? The one that everyone was playing in the Philippines?
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Axie?
Axie, yeah. Axie Infinity.
Axie, yeah.
Axie Infinity.
That was quite
at one
crazy
point,
what happened in the Philippines, right? Everyone was talking about it, but then you kind of it enters the culture of trying to get out of this system through playing games, and everyone starts fantasizing. I stay away.
What Michael was discussing, and he mentioned the Philippines, people were paying Filipinos at a low cost per hour to play the games for them to make money. So they're arbitraging labor. Eventually crashed as well because the early adopters make a lot of money and the ones behind it lose a lot of money. Unfortunately, that's why crypto got such a bad name and still continues to get a bad name. NFTs, forget about it. People don't even want to talk about the acronym NFTs. I'm still a big fan of the technology behind crypto, blockchain, and NFTs when it comes to iGaming. So I'm working on some innovations in that space because they should come together. And it started with provably fair games. Remember, why was blockchain ever introduced to iGaming? It was because it was to prove to the public that everything was transparent, right? That's brilliant if you think about it. If you're playing blackjack on xyzgaming.com and you don't even know who owns it or anything, how do you know that it's really 97% RTP, right? Blockchain was created for that, and now it's going to build on that. So,
one of the things we also are forgetting is that it's taken us so long in the gaming arena to get to the responsible gambling stage where we insist that people set the amount of time that they can spend and the amount of money they can spend. And based on how much they earn or what time they have available, they're able to set those limits. And those limits are there for a purpose because we don't want people to abuse or spend more time or more money than they should. And think about it. Money and time are very different to every single one of us. So for me, a concern around play to earn as well, and I'm on board with both of you, is that we also need to look at a time and money, well, maybe a time setting that you can only play for X amount of time if you're in this play to earn environment. But then it also goes to the notion of fan tokens. The thing with fan tokens is if you win fan tokens as part of your watching a sportsbook event, the idea is that you can turn it into something else. But in reality, it needs to be turned into something more tangible. And you had a great idea, and you were talking about it, which is, sure, okay, I'll play to earn a bunch of fan tokens, but what can I do with them? I can go and get a discount on my ticket for a Juventus game, for example. So we do have to be so incredibly careful, don't we?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you about fan tokens. So I spent $20,000 on my favorite team, fan tokens. They're called the Vegas Golden Knights. It's ice hockey. I'm from Las Vegas. And all I have is, when I look at my wallet and I go to like a third-party website, I get to see a spinning token. And so I get to do that for $20,000. I get nothing for it. So I can't even sell it. I don't get free tickets or nothing. So to add on what you say, I believe in fan tokens being used for redemption in real life. That's the whole point of them is, can you get tickets, discounted tickets, merch? We all love merch from our favorite teams. Then there's some advantage. Even if you got discount off season tickets for life, the problem with fan tokens is if you're buying them to speculate and make money, you might as well throw your money out the window. At the same time, the teams that support fan tokens or whatever that you're a fan of, they run out of money too because you've purchased it once or you've earned it, then they have to keep giving you something for life. So they just don't really work, in my opinion, as well because unless they're timed. If it's a fan token for the year and you get discounts on refreshments, beverages, and merchandise, if you buy more than you spend, if you buy more than your discount, you might have an ROI on your fan token. Other than that, to me, they're just what was a good idea is no longer a good idea, which we're learning a lot in this space.
Michael, what do you think of in the metaverse that there should be certain limitations on time, for example, and money, of course? Is that part of the way that it's built? Do you think it's essential that that's in place before you actually, physically launch?
Well, right now there are no limitations because we're not in a position where someone can get addicted that it's affecting their day-to-day life, I feel. Effectively, yes, it will have to come into fruition. At the same time, I also argue that we also have mobiles, right? And some of us spend 5 hours a day on them. Younger generations spend 9 to 10 hours a day on their phones, and they're still living day-to-day lives. I don't feel that we're going to be spending countless hours on end in this technology. It'll be more of a transactional commercial thing. With regards to people coming up with solutions to help reduce the potential negative effect. There are forums, there are people discussing, institutions are getting into it. It looks positive in that regards.
It's good to hear that it's positive, but I think it's also important to know that you do have this in mind.
Yep, of course.
And I'm now interested to talk a little bit more about the two different casinos that you have. So, first of all, from an experience point of view, which do you think, so you've got a UK-based one, and then you've got a crypto-based one. Firstly, economically, which one do you foresee being more financially, successful?
Well, one's a differentiator, right? The crypto casino is a differentiator. The real money gaming, there's real money gaming everywhere, right? And it continues to grow as pre-regulation becomes regulated. So it's really the crypto stuff. That's another reason why I'm sitting here in this chair, I think, is because there's tons of crypto casinos. I said this earlier, the reason why they were created on the blockchain was to show your hands, your spins, and show that they're provably fair. But if you take it to the next level, you could use crypto. So when you use crypto, in my opinion, it's like using chips at a blackjack table. You don't feel like it's real money, so you spend it more. So it's a way to monetize better using crypto. The crypto investors like myself, I've paid software studios in crypto. I just sent them $80,000 worth of Ethereum. Like, I don't feel like I'm writing a check or wiring $80,000. So there's that feel there. Now, I'm going to stick to the crypto casino side. The decentralized part's the more important. I'll wait till you ask that question. But I think that the upside is better there, okay? You're limiting yourself. So I'll have a debate with somebody, and they'll say, you're limiting yourself. Real money gaming in the UK is, the 4 core countries, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and England. That's your whole target. Over 18, of course, KYC. But with crypto, it's like there's only 2% of the world is using crypto right now. So why would you limit yourself? And I disagree, because I think the opposite effect, if once you have the crypto, you're willing to spend it. In addition, a lot of crypto investors and holders that were early adopters have made so much wealth, they don't even know what to do with their crypto. Even with some of the corrections, that they just love gambling because they've gambled to get there, in theory, by risking and speculating on tokens, and now they have it. They want more action, and they're willing to take higher risks with their crypto versus, again, money that was in their bank. Yeah, and so...
Would you ever consider including the reality of, okay, so more time, more money, of course, but we're going to see a big role of AI and blockchain that, has certain predictions that it makes on the performance of particular crypto. So eToro, for example, where you've promised to see the future value of something in the next, 10 days or 10 hours. Do you think that AI is going to try to muscle in on how that crypto value is evaluated in those moments? Is it a 24-hour thing? Is it a 48-hour thing?
I think AI in general is going to take over everything. So my answer would be yes. To get into specifics, there's so much detail within that. As to speculating, again, I'm using the word speculation because I don't know the future. I wish I did. It would be great to know that how things are going to play out. Obviously, we all want to tell the future, but on this subject matter, it would be nice to know where it's going to go. I'm a big and firm believer in crypto going up long term, like an S&P 500 index to me. So AI itself is just going to make things easier for us as humans to determine and decipher. That's all I really think in that space. So it just makes it easier. Makes our lives a lot easier.
Now we get to the touchy point, of course, that crypto is being discussed across the world as how will it be taxed. And when we look at things from an ethical perspective, I was just chatting to someone earlier and listening to Rachel McConnell earlier also talking about this, is that Germany has introduced 5% tax on any of your bets. So this is millions, billions of money that goes to the government in Germany because they're taxing each one of those bets. What we need, I think, certainly as a gaming and casino and poker and sportsbook industry, is to actually collaborate with those governments and say, all right, you've taken 5%, that's great, but what are you doing to invest in the betterment of our country, for example, whether it be setting up more addiction clinics, or it is about creating different reward systems. We've got to be very, very clear about how that happens. So, Michael, in terms of what you guys are doing, is there any risk that that crypto might start to take on a new value or a different value in terms of how you guys are managing it?
Well, I think we get paid in USD, right? We have functional currencies. We do build on decentralized spaces sometimes, and we also build on centralized spaces. We do build 3D casinos, we do build 3D websites. Of course, should there be less value in crypto, be it because of stronger regulation, which is positive, then we will see a slight reduction in the value of the token which we're working with. But I do believe that regulating it in the long run is more than positive. So in the short run, you're going to get better clients, less problems, and better solutions.
As we're finishing up, I'd love to hear from you, Michael. What are the goals that you have for the business? What do you see it looking like in 5 years' time?
Big goals.
I beg your pardon?
Big goals. No.
Big odds, okay.
As in, obviously, right now we're one of the biggest ones in a certain space. I would say in Europe for sure. Effectively, we would like to have proper first mover advantage, which means getting to different solutions. That's why we're working on Apple, etc. And then we see where it goes. We have international employees. We remain like that. We have international investors. Hopefully remain like that. And we'll see where it takes us.
That sounds very exciting. And I think 5 years is...
It's a good roadmap.
It's quite a long, I could say a year or 3 or 5, but it sounds like you're very confident of where you'll be in 5 years. And if we could, maybe you tell us, as your closing point, where do you think we are going in gaming in terms of the blockchain? Where are we? Where are we going?
Well, I'm happy you asked. I believe that a lot of casinos, online iGaming casinos, are claiming they're decentralized, but they're really not. Right? Yeah. We'll get into that in a second here. I think it's a really interesting topic to end with, because what I'm trying to do is be decentralized, and not to be different, just to be fair, right? For example, if you deposit your crypto in your account after KYC and you leave 100 Bitcoins in there, which is a lot of money if you know the math, and I decide to close my business the next day, I've taken your Bitcoin, right? So am I really decentralized? No, right? So I think it comes down to smart contracts. Getting a little deeper into the technical answer, but smart contracts, for those of you that know what they are, is the future of the blockchain side of iGaming. Everything will be smart contract driven instead of you deposited crypto and I'm publishing each hand and spin so you can see it's fair. I think it goes to the next level where the custody, that's what I'm building right now, and it'll be hopefully live in September or so, is when you deposit your crypto, you don't deposit it with me. You don't even deposit it with a third party, because I have software engineers can steal it. You have hackers who could steal it. So you put it into a smart contract, and there's 2 keys, casino and player. As it's in the smart contract and it's deposited in there, you start to gamble. And when the session is over, it settles. The crypto gets sent to the appropriate wallet. So that way I can't close in the middle of the night and run away. I can't have an employee steal your crypto for all those vulnerabilities. So I'm trying to avoid all those vulnerabilities to be a truly decentralized casino, iGaming experience. When I say casino, I also mean sportsbook. The other thing is, I want to add on to your taxes. I don't want to go into the tax stuff. I pay all my taxes. I'm fine with that. A lot of crypto investors hide their crypto from taxes and regulation. If you're fully decentralized, are you really operating under a regulatory body? And that's another discussion that needs to be had in the next 5 years as we see how this grows. So I'm answering your question about the next 5 years. If you're in maritime laws, right? If you're on a cruise ship and you're gambling, do they have a license? They don't have a license to gamble because they're out a certain part off of shore to gamble. So the ship cruise operator is letting you gamble because they don't need a license because they're maritime. Well, why aren't we doing that in the cloud? Why aren't we doing that in the servers? Why aren't we doing that as we're fully decentralized with smart contracts? You're technically in the cloud. You don't really need a license. Again, tax laws are based on your own jurisdiction where you live and all that. That's between the individuals and countries like Germany. But I'm just saying, before we even get to tax, decentralization is where I think this is all going to go. And the iGaming operators, hopefully like myself, that shift there will be where all the players will move to. The crypto player. I'm talking about the crypto wagers and punters. I'm talking about those specifically. So I hope it made sense, answering and closing.
Sense. And I think the thing that's important here that you've pointed out is that you're not holding the wallet. You're not the one who's holding on to whatever their Bitcoin or deposit is.
Sure.
Those wallets remain somewhere else. They're validated, and smart contracts are critical, absolutely critical in keeping with the identity. As we slow down, is there anybody who might like to ask any questions for the panel? We have a microphone floating around, just in case. Gosh, we've covered a lot then.
Yeah, we did. That's what's good about having a two-person panel, right? With a great moderator like yourself, right?
It's supposed to be 4 of us. So
yeah.
Excellent.
It was 4 of us originally, right?
Okay, certainly. Any questions at all? All right.
I can make one more point if it's just to
Please,
have a
sir,
few minutes.
indeed.
I don't mean to stretch it, but I want to talk about crypto itself in an iGaming environment. I also think that's the future as well, even though a lot of crypto casinos have crypto, that's obvious, but when you have your own token, right? A lot of these cryptocurrencies were made up and they're called altcoins or SHIT coins and all this stuff. There's no purpose for them, right? This is a true utility. If you have your own ecosystem as an iGaming platform and the token has no use anywhere else, I still believe there's a successful model there because as you gamble with your tokens, you can offer rewards, in-house tokens. You can offer rewards, you can offer rebates, you can do a lot more on the blockchain than you can anywhere else. You could do a reduced VIG. So I'm creating a sports book where you don't have to pay juice or a VIG. I don't know if that's the European term for whatever it is, but whatever that is, the extra point that you pay when you lose. So we call it VIG in America. You don't have to pay that. Well, how? How do you do that? Well, you use the token. As you use the in-house token, you drive the economy because as you lose, it's the opposite of play to earn. It's play to lose. So as you use the tokens, they burn them. And as they burn them, there's less tokens in supply, which creates a massive economy. Then you want to go gamble some more. Do you want to play in Ethereum, where you pay the VIG and no rebate? Or do you want to play an ABC token, where you get reduced VIG and so on and so forth? So I'm also working on something like that to create its own economy within our platform. That way you're incentivized to use the tokens. They're not meant to buy and go sell in the open market and for them to tank. It's just meant to use within the ecosystem. So I think I wanted to add that before we had a little more time. No one asked any questions. The 2 things I talked about today were non-custodial wallets and using crypto within your ecosystem for iGaming. I'm telling you right now, that's the next 5 years on this side of iGaming.
Excellent. Michael, is there anything you might like to add at the end?
Not really. I think we covered everything from my end.
Okay,
Just thank you for a good moderation session.
And thank you. We can't wait to see what Metaverse architects are doing. And especially since you're based in Malta, we can come and knock on your door and say, show us.
By the way, Michael's speaking again in like an hour and a half.
Or an hour, I believe.
An hour?
Yeah.
In another hour, he's speaking again on the panel for the Metaverse Casino one. So that'll be more specific to what our first 5-10 minutes was, but more detailed, it seems like.
Yeah.
And he'll probably give more examples, because I'm interested in seeing that panel to see which casinos are live, what are their numbers. I want to know how well they're doing, and a lot of that's transparent on the blockchain. So,
Excellent. Thank you both so much. Have a wonderful afternoon and good luck.